morning, everyone. And for those I haven't had an opportunity to greet, my name is Tom Baker. I'll be your guide today as we take a journey together looking at what's probably the single most important question that we can ask. And that's how do we compensate? How do we lead staff to want to change? Dealing with staff and compensation, without a doubt, is the single greatest frustration that any agency owner that we work with. I'm the CEO and founder of Catalyst Insurance Systems, and my business partner is also on with us. Nina is in South Carolina. I'm in Dallas. And we have a talent management system that's different for our industry, but it's actually the first one in our industry. And everything that we're going to be talking about today has come through our working with agencies and listening and hearing what owners have to say. And I really want to take on what I believe, as I said, the top questions that every agency faces. We're going to try to answer all of those questions in the next 60 minutes. So we'll see how I do, and you can give us some feedback at the end, and hopefully I'll answer the questions that you came and that are important to you. Now, someone asked me, Tom, how did you come up with the name My Compensation Plan Sucks? That's kind of a bit of an unusual title, maybe. Definitely, it's a very emotionally charged title, which we understood. And the way that we came up with that, I was listening to owners and having owners tell me, trying to just get my staff to do their job, that sucks. Paying over 50% of my hard-end commission revenue, and I have no way of knowing what I'm getting back from it or what staff's doing. That sucks. Staff believing they're entitled to more money just because January 1, 2020 comes around. They've been with you for another year, so they deserve money. That sucks. Wondering if I'm overpaying the wrong people, underpaying the right one. Boy, that's a big one. That really sucks because I just don't know if my money is going where it's fair and best. Keeping up with Excel spreadsheets and tiered compensation plans and calculating this, and you've got one level for one thing and trying to keep up with all of that, that sucks. Producers, this is one that gets me. Producers living off their renewals, they play golf 3 days a week and pay their bills, and they write new business just whenever they need some extra money. That is the most insane compensation model, I think, in the world, and it definitely sucks. Not knowing how much I can afford to pay deserving staff. You want to compensate the people who are helping you grow the agency. It again comes down to, how do we do that? How do I know what I can afford? How do I know that the money is going in the right place? And not knowing that absolutely sucks. That's how we came up with the title and the content for the webinar. Because as agency owners and consultants and industry professionals, you want to have an answer to these questions, and results-based compensation is the single most important, key, effective way to deal with every one of these issues. Matter of fact, it's the only way. Traditional compensation cannot address these issues, but results-based, and this is not just for producers, customer-facing, licensed people, everyone in the agency, we believe, can and should be placed on a results-based compensation plan. And by the end of our time together, I'm actually going to give you a plan, and you will know how to create your own results-based compensation plan, and we'll also send some materials to you afterwards. Now, if the answer really is changing to results-based compensation, if that's truly the answer, then the question is, how do we lead staff who actually want us to change their compensation? How do we lead staff who are asking us to change? One of the ways I guarantee you staff will not accept change is if you go to them and say, we're solving our problems. We're finding a better way to do this. Those are value words, and I really encourage you stay away from those, because if I tell you we're going to fix something, that means you're broken and not doing your job. So we're going to come up with ways for you to invest your passion and your commitment to dig yourself out of a hole to solve a problem. People, staff will not invest their passion or commitment just to dig themselves out of a hole or to solve a problem. There has to be something more than that for staff to really buy in. Now, you probably have not seen these two, the what at the top and the why film at the bottom. What are those? Well, those are the two most important questions that have to be asked and answered in order for staff to buy in to change. Let me make a statement. This may be one of the things you take away that is possibly the most important. It is a myth that staff and people resist change. People do not resist change. Actually, people welcome change. And just to give you a little bit of proof, you go to your staff and you say, I'm going to give you a $10,000 bonus, and it's right here. I got a check for you, $10,000. Boy, you can go out and go on vacation. You can buy some stuff. Look at all the things you can do. That staff person's not going to come to you and say, "Oh, Tom, yeah, I'm not comfortable with change. So keep the $10,000 because I really don't like change." You're not going to have that happen. They're going to come to you and say, "Yeah, I love that change. Give me more of that." It's not that people resist change. And here's what to walk away with. People resist the unknown. If they don't know what's in it for them and they don't know what's coming, they're going to resist it. But it's not change they're resisting the unknown. Simon Sinek, if you're familiar with him, if you're not, I encourage you to go to YouTube or his videos and books. But he says people do not resist change, they resist being changed. And I think it's a really, really strong point. People don't resist the change, they resist if they don't know, why are we doing this? Why are you asking me to do something in my day that I'm not currently doing? And that's a very, very important question. And that's the WAWDT. Why are we doing this? The other question, the WIIFM, is what's in it for me? If you do not answer clearly these two questions, change will not move smoothly in your agency. If change is not moving clearly, then I promise you staff have not had these two questions answered to their satisfaction. People resist the unknown. They don't resist change. They resist being changed. When they understand there's a reason for doing this that they buy into and they say, what's in it for me? And they believe that there's an answer for that, then people will actually want and ask you for change. Now, here's how we're going to start in looking at why are we doing this and what's in it for me. Those are the two questions. Kind of put those up in the corner of your mind for a moment, because we're going to go back to those through everything else we talk about. Your destination determines your journey. The more clear your destination, the fewer options you have to get there. And that's how we're going to answer the questions. Why are we doing this and what's in it for me? Let's say that one destination is on the Atlantic Ocean, and that is New York, and the other destination is on the West Coast, the Pacific Ocean, and San Francisco. I happen to like both cities, but New York, I kind of like. A lot of people don't like New York. I kind of like New York. Now, let's say that you have someone who's never been to New York, and you say, hey, we're going to take a trip together. We're going to go see the Statue of Liberty. We're going to stand in line and get on that ferry, and we're going to go out to the island, and we're going to be able to stand next to the Statue of Liberty. We're going to go on Fifth Avenue. Macy's is an incredible, we don't have a lot of department stores anymore. We're going to see Macy's. We're going to go to Times Square and see these massive monitors and lights and cabs and excitement and people, and we're going to go to Central Park, which is an absolutely beautiful place. This is where we're going, and if you've never been there, and I have, and I like it, and I'm giving you a description of, wow, this is going to be an amazing trip. Let's go to New York. That means if I see a trip to San Francisco, $25 round trip, I say, wow, that's a great deal. Well, actually, it's not, because I'm not going to San Francisco. I don't want to see the Pacific. I want to see the Atlantic. The destination is what determines your journey. And the more clear your destination, the less options you have to get there. If I'm going to Hawaii, I don't have to stress or think about what's the best rental car price I can get, because you can't drive to Hawaii. The more clear you know, we're not just going to New York, we're going to Manhattan. We're not just going to Manhattan, we're going on Fifth Avenue. We're going to a restaurant. We're going to sit at a booth. We're going to have the most amazing meal. When you begin to do something remarkable, that is something like Martin Luther uh, King did, he, pardon me, he did not stand in front of a nation and say, I have a plan. He stood in front of a nation and he said, I have a dream. And the nation was mobilized around a man who so clearly communicated that dream that the nation was left changed forever after his dream. He did not say, I have a plan. People don't buy into plans, people buy into dreams. We're going to say, this is our dream team. Now imagine this applies to your agency and your staff. Let's say the reason we come to work today, the reason we showed up at the agency, the reason we got here 5 minutes early, the reason we do our job and we embrace change is because so every team member falls in love with where our agency is going in order to protect our customers' dreams. If your staff resists change, if compensation, all this other stuff is a mess, if you have staff that's pushing back on things, then they have not fallen in love with where you're going as an agency. Because when people fall in love with something, something magical happens within them. If they don't have anything to fall in love with, you've got a problem. You're not going to have engagement. You're not going to have embracing change. You're not going to have the kind of culture that I think everybody on the call would love to have. So we're going to define, first of all, your vision. The vision for your agent is the destination you can't wait to see. The vision is New York at a certain restaurant on Fifth Avenue, getting the most amazing meal, seeing the Statue of Liberty, Macy's, and Times Square and Central Park. That's the vision. I was talking to an agency owner earlier this week. I said, what's your vision? He said, oh, I know my vision. My vision is to double the agency in 5 years and to grow by a certain percent. And I said, that's a wonderful goal. That is not a vision. That's not a dream. That's not something people are going to get excited about. Vision is the destination you cannot wait to see. Your mission are the habits that you perform every day that's going to take you from where you are to your destination. The vision is the dream of where you're going. Your mission is how you're going to get there, and that is made up of habits that you follow and develop every day. Key performance indicators, KPIs, these are measurable, actionable achievements that when you do these things, you know you can measure and see where you are in the journey to make sure you don't get off track and you get to your destination as quickly as possible. So vision, mission, KPIs, the reason we come to work, the reason we do our job, and the reason we embrace change is so every one of us can fall in love with where our agency is going so we can protect our customers' dreams. Imagine going to your staff and you start out and say, hey, I, I don't just have a plan, I've got a dream. Let me tell you about my dream, staff. I dream about a vision. I dream about the dream. I dream about a destination where we have less stress and more fun. And let me tell you what that looks like. Let me tell you what that feels like. I want to paint a picture for you of what an agency with less stress and more fun. This is answering the question of why are we doing this? Why are we changing? Because this is where we're going. What's in it for me? Increased compensation. You're going to guaranteed have more money every year, staff, as we move closer and closer to Manhattan. We're going to have self-tracking, just like your Fitbit or the telematics that Allstate and Progressive and other companies have, where you measure your driving and it affects either your gas mileage or your insurance or something. We're going to have self-tracking so you know how you're doing on your job, and you can get increased recognition for doing your job. We have increased job security. You know that the agency is profitable and is growing and is successful, so you feel comfortable that you're not at risk when you come in. You feel safe when you come to work because you know that we're part of a successful growing agency. Staff, where we're going, this place, wonderful New York, one of the things that has a social responsibility. We're going to make a difference and an impact on our community. We're going to give back to our community. We want to be a part of changing the world around us and not just writing insurance policies. Staff, imagine where we're going. Our dream is where people treat one another with courtesy and respect, not impatience and intolerance, but courtesy and respect. And staff, I got to tell you, I cannot wait to get there. Now, here's your part. If change is not happening, here's the reason why. If you can say to your staff, look, I don't know if you're going or not. If you don't want to go, that's fine. This is where I'm going. I'm headed to New York. Who wants to go with me? This is where I'm going, and I cannot wait to get there. Who wants to? I'm not telling you have to. I'm not. Staff, you're not being changed. You're given the opportunity to embrace change, because the reason we're doing it is to go to a wonderful place that more and more, I want to tell you about the dream of where we're going. We're going to have a mission to get there. We're going to have KPIs so we know we're on track. Who wants to go with me? Now, if the person doesn't want to go with you, then we're going to give them an opportunity, not in a punitive way, but they may want to go somewhere else, and that's fine. Where you're going, a New York agency that I just came back from about a month ago, they chose Bermuda. I'm sorry, the Bahamas. And they said, staff, if you want to go to Bermuda, that's wonderful. We're going to the Bahamas, and here's what the Bahamas looks like. And everything they're doing now is talking about the reason we're doing it is because we're going to the Bahamas, and let's figure out what that looks like. So let me give you 4 steps, which is what I promised you at the beginning I would do, to create the perfect results-based compensation plan. So we're going to have step 1, 2, 3, 4. I want to give you a systematic way to do this. Once again, you will have the PowerPoint if you like. When we're done, you'll have a recorded video that's out on YouTube. When we're done, there's tools that you can request at the end. Be more than happy to send you. And if you do have questions, please don't hesitate. Send them over the little dashboard on the GoToWebinar, and I'll be more than happy to answer as we go through. Now, step number 1 is to create destinations. I mentioned we don't just want to go to New York, we want to go to Manhattan. We don't want to just go to Manhattan, we want to go to Fifth Avenue. We want to drill this down into specific areas. So for your agency, the destinations we're going to create are community value, agency culture, customer service, agency growth, and staff development. We're going to create 5 destinations for each of these 5 places, or 5 characteristics of the destinations we're going to. Yeah, we want community value. We want to be an agency who pays it forward, who has civic involvement, who is ecologically sound in leadership, an agency culture that's fun. We have job owners, not job renters. We want to be a little bit weird. We don't want to just be like the people down the street. We want to be a little bit, we want to be relevant to our community, to our customers, and to our staff. We're going to have customer service level standards to understand that there are different ways of people prefer servicing and that we can structure servicing. We're not going to, we don't want somewhere that we work all the time and just in stress and crisis mode. We're going to prioritize scheduling. You're going to know how to get control of your day. Use technology, generational customer service, because boomers are different than millennials. We want preferred target customers. The day of the generalist is dead. We're not just going to go out there and as one owner to put it to me, yeah, I write everybody who stumbles in through the front door. We're going to have systematic growth because we're targeting our customers. We have planned organic growth, centers of influence. We do plan on growing by acquisition. We want growth based on value and not just offering the cheapest price. Staff development, where there's current and relevant benefits. One of the benefits, and an owner didn't think I was telling them the truth in this till they came back afterwards. I said a great benefit for millennials is fresh fruit and snacks. And this owner said, there is no way my staff is going to care about fresh fruit and snacks. So they went back, asked their millennial staff, and they got really excited. So, oh, we would love that. That would be wonderful if we could go to the break room and find fresh fruit and snacks, relevant benefits, not just what has been there, but there are things that matter to millennials we need to understand. You're going to guarantee get more money every year. You're going to become a better person for having worked at our agency. And we want more than our best. We always want to be excelling for something greater. Now, staff, this is the destination. Step number one is, where are we going? Why are we asking you to do this? Staff, everything that we do, if you come to me and say, why are we doing this? I can point to one of these destinations and say, the reason we're doing this is because this is where we're going. They say, well, yeah, I think it should be a different. I don't agree with those destinations. Wonderful. Nothing wrong with San Francisco. It's just we happen to be going to New York. If you want to go to San Francisco, we want to give you the opportunity to do that. But this is where we as an agency is going. And everything that we do is based on getting to these 25 destinations. Now, step number two are creating habits. For example, community value. We need to be in the habit of reviewing local websites, looking for ideas on LinkedIn, checking for city events, recycling regularly. Great habits for community value. Agency culture. We want to be learning about other cultures. We're going to have a culture where we get work done in 40 hours and we don't have overtime. We want an agency culture where we do what others don't expect. That's part of that being a little bit weird. We want to develop habits that put some excitement and creativity and innovation. We want a culture, we want to be in the habit of fostering curiosity. So we're going to look for ways that we can foster curiosity. Customer service, we want to be in the habit of consistently applying service level standards. We want to be in the habit of scheduling up to 30 hours per week. You know, at 1 to 2 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you are doing marketing, or you are doing social media, or you are doing quoting. Actually scheduling your time, and we can help you do that. We want to have habits where we are practicing role play and using technology, and the habit of learning about the difference in millennials and boomers and Gen Y and the different markets, demographics that are out there. We want to be in the habit of updating our target demographics so we know who we're going after. We want to constantly be in the habits of exploring new centers of influence, knowing our competition. We want to be in habits of doing these things, to understand disruptors in our industry, to let management know what's important to us. We need a way to feedback and the habit of communicating back with management, of recognizing the value of coworkers, asking management what is needed. These are habits that we're going to develop, these habits that are going to take us to step number one, the destination. Now, key performance indicators. We want actionable, measurable behaviors that are going to be based on the habits that's going to take us where we want to go. We could say we want everyone to to volunteer 1 day a month. 8 times 12 months is 96. 96 hours a year, that's a KPI, a key performance indicator. We want you to conduct 12 customer surveys and find out what customers are saying about not only us, but also we want to find out what are they looking for in an agency. We would like, maybe it's a producer, even account manager, we want you to attend 12 chamber meetings. We want you to post once a month on social media. We want you to choose a project for ecology. These are measurable things. We want you to have lunch once a month with a coworker. Boy, that's actually a really great idea. One agency said, we want staff, we put a treadmill back here, that your KPI, one of the things we're going to measure, we want you to exercise 4 hours weekly on the treadmill, and that's on company time. We want, for agency culture, give us 12 ideas that are just a little bit weird, one a month, and that's part of your job, is to fulfill that key performance indicator. To schedule 20 hours per week on your calendar that you know what you're going to be doing. We want you to do 52 video proposals. Once a week, KPI is going to be 52 video proposals, because video proposals, if you don't know, will absolutely increase your close rate and the engagement with your customer. Agency growth. We want you to write 24 life policies with a preferred carrier. We want you to identify 6 strategies to develop a relationship with centers of influence. We want you to create 12 value propositions. Why it's in people's best interest to do business with our agency. We're looking for you to receive 2 designations, to identify 12 personal stretch goals and 12 professional stretch goals. Every one of these things is measurable, it's tangible, it's quantifiable. So we're going to take every KPI, and staff says, why are you asking me to do these things? Why are you asking me to attend 12 chamber meetings? Or why are you asking me to do 52 video proposals? Well, it's so we can be in the habit of using technology so that we can get to the destination that we're going to. We're not fixing a problem. We're not solving a problem. We're not digging ourselves out of a hole. We're not doing it because anything's wrong, but because you understand what got you here won't get you there. Just because something you're doing works today does not mean it will work tomorrow. I want to give you an idea of how to look at a sales process. And this is extremely important, particularly for producers, account managers, anyone that's customer facing. Let's say that we have an average new account of 2,500, an average close rate of 30%, that the average creative proposals, only 50% of those get reviewed with customers, and it takes 3 conversations with someone in order to get someone to say, yes, give me a quote. We can now take $100,000 in premium, divide it by 2,500, and we have 40 new accounts. We can divide that by 30%, and that tells us we need 133 completed proposals. If only 50% of the time we actually get in front of a customer, that means we have 266 creative proposals, which, by the way, 50% is a real problem. It should be a whole lot higher. That's why it's important to measure that. And if we multiply 266 times 3, we get 798. So now we know where we're going because we've got our destination, we've got our habits. We're creating KPIs of $100,000 in premium, 40 new accounts, 133 completed proposals, 266 creative proposals, 798 qualified leads, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If we put in personal growth and development for number 6, and we also we want so many completed video proposals, we have 7 KPIs, which is our target number. This would be for a customer facing. We've created KPIs for receptionists, unlicensed staff, accounting, IT, processing. Every person in your agency can be put on a results-based compensation plan, and we can help you come up with KPIs that they make sense. It's not just numbers you're pulling out of the air. Now, let me give you what may be one of the most important things you take away from our time today, and it absolutely is one of the most common things that we don't focus on. If I get my 40 new accounts and that gives me my $100,000, if I increase my close rate by 1%, 30% to 31%, that is a 2.5% increase in revenue just by increasing my close rate 1%. If you want a 9% increase, 8 to 9% increase over last year, increase your close rate by 3% and you'll have an 8 to 9% increase in revenue. You don't need more customers. You don't need more market. All you got to do, if you increase your close rate by 3%, you're going to have a 9% increase. Incredibly important number to measure. And again, you're going back to staff with hard numbers. Now, I want to mention just the last thing in step number 3 here with KPIs. Compliance audits can be tied directly to people's compensation. And the way you do it, you come up with maybe standards for activity codes, how they're used, calls returned by next business day, how you handle claims, a condolence card goes out if there's injuries, the full accounts reviewed within 30 days after the claim is resolved. And these are measurable. Every one of these things is measurable and can be done on a pass-fail audit. If you audit 10 things and 9 are compliant, one is that's 90% compliance. So you can tie every one of these things directly back to compensation. You want to make sure customers are contacted 30 to 60 days prior to renewal. You want a thank you card sent 2 days after a review. You want to make sure people log out of their management system when they walk away from their desk for federal privacy regulations. You want to make sure there's no cords, boxes, other hazards around the desk. These are compliance audits. You can tie this directly back to compensation, and staff says, why are you making me record every conversation that I do with a customer? Because where we're going as an agency, the destination's there, and here's the habits we have. We just want to make sure that we're on track, that we get to our destination as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Using KPIs, that's step number 3. Step number 1 is destination. Step number 2 is habits. Step number 3 are KPIs. This is how we're going to get to our results-based compensation plan. We want to create a plan that we don't want it to suck. We want to have a compensation plan that makes sense and that we can take our staff to, that they're going to buy into and actually look forward to. Now, let me show you, and if I were going to do this, because every time I do this webinar, somebody comes back and says, Tom, what do you recommend? If you want to do this on your own, I will be more than happy to sit down. I'm going to send you some materials. I'll be more than happy to sit down with you, and if you want to try to create an Excel spreadsheet or something to track this on, you certainly can do that. I'll give you all the information you need. Personally, this is how I would do it, because this can tie into your agency management system, at least about 95% of them. And this is something that's going to give staff tracking that they're responsible to do the work, because I really don't want you to have to do the work. So imagine your staff coming in tomorrow morning, and they know they should have 41.76% of their job done. Wow, Jack's got 50.56. Jack's doing great, man. He's knocking it out of the park. The agency has 40.85. Imagine staff can come in and every day they can know exactly what their score is, and they have a way to measure their own success and feel great or feel challenged. You also know how to help them. You're also going to let them know what other departments are doing, and if you want to share revenue goals, last year, this year goal, and this year actual, you can do that. But this section over here on the left, they can see all of their KPIs. They can see what their goal is. Here's how I recommend that you structure KPIs. You assign a maximum score of 10. In this instance, all the maximum score is going to add up to 100. Whatever percentage of the goal that the staff receives, that's the percentage of their maximum score they're going to get. So you do 90% of your goal, you get 90% of your maximum score. If you go over your goal, it's still a maximum score. Now, our system happens to, if they don't make it one report period, it can follow them and adjust the goal next time. And if they make it up, then they're good. You can track this any way that you would like to. Here's the important part. And make a note, if you're taking notes, put number 1 and write this down. Staff, it is your job to do your job. Now, what an amazing thought in our world today. Staff, it is your job to do your job. In other words, these are not bonuses. Every one of us on the call has tried bonuses to, how do we get people to change? Well, the answer is you don't. You'll never get anybody to change. What you're looking for are people that will take responsibility for their own life. When you give somebody a bonus, I'll pay you $10 for every EFT you sign up. By default, I have given that person permission not to do their job if they don't want to do it. If I'm trying to bribe them and get them to do something with a bonus, every one of us has tried it, and it doesn't work. Bonus will at best result in temporary compliance, but it will never change behavior long term. Bonuses simply cannot and will not do that. So number 1 on your list, staff, it's your job to do your job. In other words, you don't get to choose which one of these, which means if you go over, it's still a maximum score. You've got 100 is the highest score. Staff, every one of these things is your job to do. Now, if you want to do some contest on the side, I love contests. But bonuses and compensation don't belong anywhere in the same page, paragraph, or sentence because they're two entirely different things. Number 2, I'm going to ask you to write down is actions follow focus. The objective in your KPIs is not a stretch goal. Boy, let's see how high Jack can jump. Let's really try to get him reaching beyond. KPIs are habits. They're simply the measurable, actionable part of habits. We're wanting to change behavior. Changed behavior is more important than what someone does today. Most of us have probably been on a diet of one sort or another. If all you do is look at your weight every day, I go up a pound and go down a pound, if that's what I'm looking at, I'm going to fail. One of the reasons Weight Watcher has been successful is because they don't change what you eat, they change why you eat. They change your relationship with food. And if you blow it one day, great, you're going to get right back on it because what I'm doing is trying to create a healthy lifestyle, not just lose weight. KPI goals are to change behavior, is to change the staff's relationship with their job. So it's like you're driving. If you're driving, you look over the passenger seat, you're going to steer the car to the right. Number 2 on your list that you're writing down is actions follow focus. Wherever you look is where you're going to go. If we can staff and lead them to look at these things on a daily basis, we will change their behavior. I was talking to this agency in New York I mentioned, and they are a large agency, and they've done a fair job with Google reviews. Talked to the office manager the other day. He said, Tom, in the last 30 days since we launched, since this became a KPI, we have 54 Google reviews, and staff on their own without anybody saying anything. They've sent out over 250 emails to customers asking for Google reviews, and we've got 54. He said, that's been absolutely amazing. What's the difference? They understood why they were doing it. They understood the habits that they're wanting to develop, and they simply started focusing on something and the actions followed. Number 1, it's your job to do your job. Number 2, actions follow focus. This is where I'm going through this staff dashboard to understand what staff would look at and focus on a daily basis. Number 3, and this one is a core foundation of everything we do. My background, by the way, I've been in insurance for 16 years. I've worked with hundreds of agencies, owners, over the last 16 years. My background for 20 years was marriage and family counseling. So I bring a lot of what I know from psychology into the way that I recommend owners and consultants work with agencies. You see the KPI, performance, income, and revenue sharing. Psychological ownership says you own something before you take physical or legal possession of it. Just like a parking place. If you've ever gotten frustrated because someone took, hey, that's my parking place. You took my, well, that wasn't yours, but psychologically it was because you saw it first. You took possession before you had physical or legal possession. Emotionally, that was yours. Bonuses will never create psychological ownership. If you tell someone, hey, Jack, you have an opportunity, do these things, and you have an opportunity to earn $912.50 this report period, you've given them permission to not earn that money if they don't care, don't need it, or just don't want to work any harder. But if you say, Jack, that's your money, you are guaranteed $912.50. And how much of that you get, you score 95 to 100, you get all of it. You score 90 to 94, Jack, you're only going to get 75% of your money. If you score lower, if you score less than 80, not only do you get your money, there may be an actual administrative notice of writing him up because it's not a bonus. Jack, it's your job to do your job. These are the actions we're looking at to develop the habits to get us where we're going. If Jack will buy in and say, that is my money, please remember this. People will do whatever they have to protect what's theirs. If they're not protecting the money you're offering them, they don't believe that money is theirs. They believe it's out there, but it's not connected. There's no pain of loss if they don't get it, which is one of the reasons that bonuses don't work. Psychological ownership. Jack, it's not we're giving you an opportunity to earn $912.50. Jack, it's your job to earn that. And one of the ways we're going to know that you've done your job is you're going to earn all of your money. And you're going to do that by scoring 95 or above on your KPIs for a report period. Now, the board is clear with questions, so I'm going to just ask, if you have questions as we go through this, please, this is the time. I'm available after the call, but if you do have questions, please don't hesitate. I'll be more than happy to answer those. Now, one question comes up, who does the tracking on this? Well, this is a staff-driven compensation model that I'm going to recommend. So I'm going to recommend staff does the tracking. So the next question always is, well, what if somebody fudges? What if somebody, just they lie? The recommendation is you let staff know we're going to do random audits. Whether you do or not, it's up to you. We're going to do random audits. And if we find that you falsified data, that's theft because it's tied to compensation. And if we find that you did, that's immediate termination. If you have a staff member, if you have an employee that's not sufficient, that you're still worried that they're going to possibly lie, we have a bigger issue and we need to decide, does that person really need to be on your bus? Are they really going where you're going? So staff need to be able to do the tracking. I believe the agency management system is where the tracking needs to be. The cycle ownership, and by the way, it's number 3. You're making your notes. Number 1 was it's your job to do your job. Number 2 is actions follow focus. Number 3 is psychological ownership, and that's where you get staff to buy in. That money is mine. That's how you get job owners and not job renters, because they feel like a stakeholder and that's my money and they're invested in it. Now, the fourth thing, there's 4 things I want to go over with you here in creating a results-based compensation plan. And you see revenue sharing income. In this instance, it is $94.81. We've done something, and I'm going to recommend that all of us consider it because I think it's one of the most remarkable things that you could do. And that is, you let staff know as long as the agency is achieving its monthly goal, which is going to be your increase, as long as the agency is growing, imagine this. Every person in your agency, non-producers, which is the majority of your staff, every person in your agency receives a percentage of every dollar that comes into the agency, as long as the agency hits its goal and is growing. Imagine a receptionist who's not licensed getting a piece of every dollar that comes into the agency. because everyone's working together as a team. And when we work together as a team, John F. Kennedy, and here's number 4 on the list that you're creating. Number 4 is a rising tide lifts all boats. In other words, when the agency succeeds, when the agency goes up, we all go up with it. When the agency wins, everybody wins. It means if I don't do my job, I'm impacting my neighbor's compensation, what they're going to be able to make in their compensation, because it's our job to work together. Revenue sharing is an absolute game changer. Now, some owners I talk with, well, I don't know if I'm comfortable sharing that number, because they're going to see we take in some $150,000 a year. They're going to wonder, why they're not making more money. I can tell you in 16 years, I've never heard of an instance where someone actually did that at an agency. There's a book I'll recommend. Make a note, Jack Stack, The Great Game of Business. He says the only way they'll get people to buy in with a culture of ownership is if they know enough about how the agency runs and makes money to know and have something to buy into. I believe sharing of revenue is absolutely critical, and revenue sharing is a team accountability. KPIs, performance income, is individual accountability. When you take these 4 principles, it's your job to do your job, actions follow focus, psychological ownership, and a rising tide lifts all boats. If you build a plan that's a staff-driven plan, results-based plan, and you go to staff, I'm not recommending that you do what I'm going to say next. However, I will tell you what one agency did, and this was about 8-9 years ago. They actually gave to their staff an Excel spreadsheet, and they said, this is what, year by year, this is what you're making right now, and this is what you're going to be making in 5 years based on a 2, maybe 3% increase. If that happens, no guarantee of it. On a second Excel worksheet, they said, we're going to guarantee everybody in the agency a 10% pay increase. Every year, you're guaranteed a 10% pay increase. Here's what you're going to be making in 5 years. And the staff are looking at that and say, okay. Now, the owner said, here's the deal. You tell me, staff, we can stay where we are and have more stress in our lives, not have a lot of control, putting fires out. You may make 2 to 3 more % a year. You're not having near as much fun as you would like. That's door number 1. Now, staff door number 2 is the second worksheet, and you're going to know that you're making 10% more every year. You're going to feel more in control. You're going to have less stress. You're going to have more fun, and we're going to build the agency of the direction we're going. Staff, what do you want? Well, you can imagine what staff said. They said, hey, we want door number 2. We want, and so the owner, a very smart owner, and he said, all right, staff, so you're asking me for change. You're asking me to lead you in a way that what you do on a daily basis will change. You're asking me for accountability. You're asking me for consequences. Staff, am I understanding you correctly? You are asking me for change. And they said, absolutely yes. This is where we want to go. When you answer the question, why are we doing this? And you answer the question of what's in it for me. And when you have a passion and a dream and you say, look, staff, I don't know if you want to go there. I'm going, who wants to go with me? And if you lay out a plan that staff can feel more in control of their day and have the success of saying, wow, I should be at 41.76, I'm at 50.56. If you give that to them, staff will actually embrace change, because people do not resist change. People resist the unknown, and people resist being changed. There's some amazing principles that I'm really hoping there's some wheels turning and some things clicking, because this type of a plan is absolutely transformational for an agency. Now, I want to show you what a plan can look like. And by the way, this is on our system on Symphony, this is an admin dashboard. We've been looking at what the staff look at. This is what management looks at. I was looking here to make sure. Nope, don't see any questions. So it knows I can see exactly what Jack's doing, and I know if he's logged in. And actually here I can also look at any KPI and know exactly what performance. I don't have to run reports. I can see right now what KPIs are doing, what staff's doing. I can see who's clocked in on our timesheet. So I can do all these things. But I just want to run a report, and I'm going to run a compensation agreement for Jack. By the way, if I don't know if any 24 fans, Jack Bauer is always my go-to person. Jack died 3 times in 5 years doing his job. I'd love to find Jack, but I haven't run across him. But he is my go-to person. So we're going to give a statement to someone. We're going to say, okay, Jack, your current income is $30,000. Jack, we're going to give you, and I'm not saying you 10%. 10% is easy math. Although I can tell you what you will have to do um, in order to achieve that. The 33,000. Now, Jack, here's our revenue goal for the agency. Jack, here's your 30,000 you're currently making. We're going to add 1650 to that. Revenue sharing, and we're going to add 1350 from performance. So this 33,000, Jack, it's your job. That's your money to earn that. Here's how your money's going to be paid out. To get all of your money, you got to score 95 to 100. Jack, here are your KPIs. So we're going to show you exactly what your job is. Now, watch this. I understand it is my responsibility to achieve my revenue and key performance indicator goals. I understand my income as well as future participation as an employee of this agency is based on my personal performance. I also acknowledge it's my responsibility to inform management if I need clarification, training, or resources to accomplish my goals. Staff signs that, agency owner signs that, and now you have a contract that you both have responsibilities and consequences, and it's very clear. And of course, at least in ours, and I'm going to recommend whatever you do, this be fully customizable, that you can make this look virtually any way that you want it to look. But that's what a compensation plan can look at for a staff. When you give them something that is clear, they understand why why you're doing it. They understand this is what's expected of me. They also understand that when they do their job, they know what's at the end of the road for them, which is really, really important. And now you can start really making sense out of their compensation. So I want to show you one other thing. And we have compliance audits, job descriptions. I want to show you when you create KPIs. I'm going to do completed account reviews. I'm going to recommend every one of your definitions start the same way. This KPI is achieved when the team member delivers something. There's something tangible. They can discuss or demonstrate something. And in this case, when the team member completes a full review of customer's account for the purpose of eliminating gaps and gaining the entire account. This KPI does not require adding additional lines of coverage as a result of the review. It just means you're going to complete the review, but the purpose is to round out the account and eliminate gaps. That's very measurable, very actionable, and this becomes a KPI. So I'm going to recommend that every one of your KPI begins the same way. When the team member achieves something. KPIs can be fun stuff, cookie delivery. We had one agency that for a new producer, they wanted the producer to go around and visit every one of their existing customers and deliver a bag of cookies as a way of introduction. I think that's fantastic. Cost time saving ideas. Staff, we want you to give back to us ideas how we can become a more efficient agency. We've got KPIs, we've got about 90 to 100 KPIs for every position imaginable. And I'm going to send you, if you request it, I'll send you a list of that. As we come down the end, once again, the questions are open. So if you do have some, please don't hesitate to let me know. But we have an organic growth wizard. And this, I think, is probably one of the most important things that we have done. And the organic growth wizard, I'm going to look at personal lines for a particular period. you take data out of your agency management system, and I mean, again, if you want the formulas, I'll be glad to show you how to calculate this yourself. But you take data out of your agency management system for how many customers, how many policies, you make some decisions. Let's say, what percent of your customers do you want on EFT? Do you want referred between different departments, thank you cards? We're going to plug in, and your management system can probably give this to you. And you're going to plug in the average premium, the average commission rate, average close rates, which some of this is going to be best estimate, but the further we go, the more accurate this information will go. And then you look at organic growth, what the percentage currently of all your customers, not just personal lines. If you're doing auto, you want your commercial lines customers to be included because you want those to be rounded out. And what this does is to create a report, make that a little larger, and it says in this particular agency, if they increased their auto policies from 83% of their customers to 86%, it's going to tell them exactly how much in revenue is going to be in the bank. By the way, it also says new customer thank you cards, we need 85 a year, we need 2 a week sent out. New business prospect thank you cards, we need 1 a week. This actually drills down and tells you on a weekly, daily basis exactly what staff need to do. In this case, as long as the agency 2,083 times a year, or 40 times a week, or 8 times a day, someone is going to have a conversation with a customer or with customer about their auto quote. You're going to do 417 quotes in the year. That's about 2 a day, a little less than 2 a day, and 125. If you hit these numbers, then you know exactly how much money you've got in the bank. And these are all measurable and actionable that you can tie directly to compensation. We had a young lady, it was a nationwide agency in West Virginia. And oh gee, this has been about 5-6 years ago. I was in the agency, and her goal was 38 quotes in 2 months. And she looked at that and she said, Tom, that's unrealistic. I cannot do 38 quotes in 2 months. I said, what can you do? What are you currently doing? And she said, Tom, right now I'm only doing 5 a week. That's all I'm doing is 5 a week. Well, I'm not a math whiz, and I quickly did 8 times 5 in my head and got 40. And her goal was 38. So I said, Susan, which is not her name, but Susan, I believe you. I think you're right. If we change this to 5 a week, are you okay with that? And she said, yes, I'm perfectly. Thank you very much. I said, no problem. We'll raise your goal from 38 to 40. Because 8 times 5 is 40. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe that's not unrealistic after all. When you bring it down to actionable, measurable KPIs, and staff understand the reason we're doing this is to get us to the Bahamas or New York City or wherever your destination is. And they understand this is their pathway to recognition and increased compensation. And they understand that how they're going to benefit and why you're doing it. And it's consistent. People will change, but only if they understand why am I being asked and what's in it for me. And you've got to give them a way to get immediate feedback so that they know on a daily basis what's going on. You can create your own Excel worksheets with this. If you want help, call me. And I'm very, very serious on this. I am more than happy to sit down with you and help you in any way that I can, talking about your current compensation plans. If you're planning on hiring someone, I've got an agency that last year I created 4 different producer compensation plans for him. They are still not a customer. I hope one day they will be, but he said, Tom, I need your help. And it'd be my pleasure to do so. If there's something that I can do, Nina and I can do to benefit your agency, let us know. We'll be more than happy to do that. You can do every bit of this on your own with Excel worksheets. If you want to do that, give me a call. I'll show you how to do it. We just happen to have created a system that does it for you. And with the amount of time you've got taken up in your day, you don't have a lot of free time there. We're coming up to the end, and once again, we always endeavor to start on time and end on time. If you do have any questions, I'm going to ask, I'll leave the webinar up for a little while, and if you would like to submit something after we're done, no problem. Please feel free to do that. It's going to be a survey come up. The survey is going to give you an opportunity to ask for some of the resources that I mentioned, and more than happy to send those to you. All you need is to request them. Tell me which ones you want. There's some survey questions there that's going to help us know how best to help you. Let me know if you want the webinar, or the webinar is going to be on YouTube probably later today. If you would like the PowerPoint, let me know. I'll be more than happy to send that to you. And it's been my pleasure to be your guide through, as we talked about, going to New York. I hope this year you've got from August now, we've got 5 months or so to prepare for 2020. The more prepared you are, the more successful you will be next year. Compensation is absolutely the biggest hurdle to get over. And I hope that you're able to create compensation plans that you can say, my compensation plan doesn't suck. If there's a way that we can help you with that, it'll be our genuine pleasure to do so. Thank you very much, and I look forward to getting to meet each and one of you, hopefully very soon, either by email or phone call. Let us know how we can help. Everyone have a wonderful day, and once again, thank you very much for your time and for your attention for this last hour.